Good evening. My name is Paolo, and I am with Italian radio in Florida. We are going to have the opportunity tonight to talk about health. Definitely is a subject that everybody's interested in. The challenges that we have to face continuously every day, unfortunately, at times they make us sick. So we have tonight Desiree that she's going to explain to us the route that she has followed through the years and the benefit of the product that she has developed in 1996 and how this product is going to help everybody. So let me introduce to you Desiree, and why don't you just tell us before to start about your product, a little bit about yourself.
Okay, hi, yes, I'm happy to be here and talking to you guys, and thank you. Okay, so my name is Desiree, and I am South African. Maybe you can hear the accent. I'm a trained detox specialist in my church. It's called a purification in charge. And many years ago, my church in Johannesburg couldn't find any vitamin B1. And this is very important because vitamins are used on the program. There's no drugs. You're getting people off drugs and getting it out of the system so you don't put more drugs in. So the vitamins are a very important part of it. So I said, I'm not going to let that happen. They couldn't find it anywhere. So I drove around the whole of Joburg, looking everywhere, all the chemists and all the health food stores, and I couldn't find any B1 anywhere. So I'm like, what? I got suspicious and started to get, big pharma's being silly about this. So I called the laboratory in another city, and I said to the guy, why have you got no B1? He said, we just all went out on tender to the hospitals for the alcoholics. I'm like, that's cool. Anyway, so I said, where can I get some? So he said, if I go down to the warehouse and ask them, they may have some up there in Joburg. So I drove over to the warehouse, and the lady said to me, sorry, they don't have any. I said, please do me a favor. Take me to the shelf where you keep it. So she did. And on the shelf were 6 little bottles. And she let me buy those 6 little bottles. So that was the problem for the purification rundown. And then I just made a decision I was never letting that happen again, and that's how I started the business. I started to manufacture all the vitamins and got them all ready and served the purification rundown, and of course then I started to serve my customers. And back in that day, the CalMag, was made with the calcium powder and the magnesium powder and apple cider vinegar. You mix them, you make them, and that's what's used on the program. And that was, I raised my kids on that. From the day they were born, I put them on, and it was just perfect. So I kept doing this. But then there were a few guys that used to come over here to America and do some services here. And then they had this instant one, and they wanted me to carry this instant one. So I said, okay. I imported 12 little bottles for them. And when it arrived, I tried it, and I'm like, I'm not changing. This is yucky stuff. It doesn't work. Anyway, but for them, I did it. So I continued with the other form. But then about a year later, our FDA, if you want to call it that, it's called the Medicines Control Council in South Africa, they confiscated my whole shipment because I was importing the vitamins from, before I started to make it, I was importing it all from here. They confiscated everything. And I was a small little business, and, you don't have money, and it's like, anyway, so then I was forced to start making it, which I did. But then I still had these few people that wanted the instant CalMag. So I thought, okay, I asked the laboratory, can you make the instant CalMag? So they did. And when I tried it, it was like, wow, that's good stuff. What is that? Why is the difference? I didn't know what the difference was. Anyway, so then it became my baby. This became my real blue-eyed baby. Put all my attention on it. We helped so many people getting off drugs, people with all kinds of body issues, babies, colic, aches and pains, just anything you can imagine. It works for that. So I've kind of over the years evolved in this thing, and we've just been working with a lot of people, help people, especially getting off drugs. It's very important. And babies, teething, colic. You know what colic is like, this cramps that babies get. All that's happening is that the muscles are contracting and not relaxing in the gut. So put them on CalMag, colic gone. So as the years went on, I learned a lot about calcium and magnesium. I know so much about it, it's not even funny. And then I came to America and I brought the business here and started to import it here and sell it here. And then even though I'm a purification in charge, and when you're putting people through that program, they're sitting in the sauna for many hours, so they get dehydrated. And all the years, and you just use the salt and the potassium and the little tissue salts and water. But somewhere along the line, I really started to look at this, and it's like, hang on a second, there's something very interesting here. People are, and then I learned how to test for the dehydration, and everybody that I test with dehydration is dehydrated. Every single person, because I do a thing called muscle testing. Applied kinesiology is the technical term, and there's a point that I use to test, and this point is weak in everybody, even babies. And so what I taught people was that when you drink water, you're going to get more dehydrated. And the reason for that is because when you drink, you have to go, and I'm going to use the word pee. You pee. You drink, you pee. You drink, you pee. And it just gets like constantly is going on like this. So what is happening is you're losing more and more minerals. So you're getting more and more dehydrated. So I do the testing thing, and what I found is that the unrefined sea salt is the perfect hydration point. I put it in the drinking water, and it's got more than 80 minerals in it, and it just helps to hydrate people. And then I started to really look into the salt thing, and the word salt, the derivation of the word is salary or pay. And way back, hundreds of years ago, the sailors used to sail around. You can ask me questions, everyone. They used to sail around the world and do trading with different nations. And the way they got paid was with salt. So that obviously there's a lot of value, and you'll die if you don't have that salt. So what has happened over the years, I've become more and more educated on the subject, that I even released my first book in December on the subject of dehydration and salt and all the symptoms of dehydration. And if you look at those symptoms, I think that 95% of the people on the planet who get into medical conditions, they start there with those symptoms. Because the symptoms is a list this long, and it's interesting, it's fuzzy thinking, it's even depression, and it can be insomnia, and it's like the list is like, it's probably about 20 or 30 things, and mood swings, and asthma, and even like this kind of stuff going on when you got the nose stuff going on. From my own experience, I know it's that. So another interesting point is I'm going to give you a little bit of information about calcium magnesium. If you kind of get the picture of heartbeat, you got the heartbeat. So the heart contracts so it can push the blood out through the heart, and then it relaxes so it can pull it in again. So this is a heartbeat. It goes like this. And if you look at those worms that crawl, they do this similar thing. The babies and and anybody with a digestive system, this is what's going on in here. If you don't have any calcium and magnesium or not enough, the heart can't contract and relax, and the gut can't do this thing and push stuff out. And there's just all this kind of stuff. So it's very, very important that this is in place. So calcium contracts, magnesium relaxes. So that's how a heartbeat and the nervous system works. But it needs more than that too. It needs the salt, because salt has got more than 80 minerals in it. So in order for the nervous system can be compared to the electricity coming into your house. So the electricity comes in, everything's working good, power's on, no problems. good. Means electricity, and the same in the body. If everything is working properly and going good, body's happy. But then some interference comes in on the electrical line, and then you get a bit of flickering or some like a little bit of stoppy stuff. Then there's some interference. The same in the body. If you don't have these minerals to do this thing, there's interference. So what happens is the more and the worse it gets, and of course the worst case scenario is body death, because if you're totally out of this stuff, you can just cop it. It's like when the power goes out in the house because it's totally cut off. It's a similar kind of thing to compare. I've had people with high blood pressure, very high blood pressure, that were not allowed to do certain things. And they came to see me, and when I tested them, of course, the dehydration factor came up, and the calcium, the magnesium. There's certain places I can test. And then I test them on the salt, and the salt tests them good, makes them good and strong. Then some of them talk to their doctor and they go, oh, no, you can't have salt, you can't have salt. And the doctor said, but fortunately most of them don't listen to that, because the salt that the doctor is referring to is that white refined stuff. It's only one part of salt, and then they bleach it. It's not actually salt anymore. If I'm talking about salt, I'm talking about the real salt, unrefined, preferably in still the little crunchy stuff, and I put it in their drinking water. Those people that listened to me and did it, the very next day the blood pressure was totally normal, because the body needs these minerals to be able to function. So it's so important that people really understand that. And
let me ask you something, if you don't mind, Desiree. Yeah. I mean, you gave us a fantastic description of what this product, by the way, that's what we are talking about. Mm-hmm. This is the product that we are talking about, that it has been developed since 1996. And what you were talking about, the salt and the celery, it's interesting, because as a matter of fact, in the Roman time, that word comes from Latin. That's what they used to pay the soldiers with salt. That's the reason why it came out, the word celery. And also it's interesting the fact that by adding salt, you can hydrate the people, like you were saying. There is another person that I have been listening to from Australia that basically says the same thing that you are saying. Okay. Yeah, her name is Barbara O'Neill, and she has these programs. So it's very interesting. So let me ask you, this product that you are talking about, I guess it's good for everybody. It would be ideal for whoever, regardless of what kind of state of health they are in, because unfortunately, as you were talking about, the doctors, by prescribing all those medication and telling people to avoid natural product, they are not really helping too much the well-being of the human race. So would you say that this is something that everybody should consider, and eventually how much they should take, and what kind of improvement would they expect to have by taking it?
Well, because the electrical current of the body needs these minerals, and calcium and magnesium are the biggest quantity of minerals in the body, that is vital for everybody. And then, of course, I add the salt in because that's got the other minerals. But depending on this person, like, for example, a tiny baby, I might start them on a tip of a teaspoon, but it could be more than once a day. So let's say we made a quarter of a teaspoon and made it in the water and everything.
I'm sorry, but how much water? Can we be a little bit more in detail so that whoever is listening and watching, they can have specific directions? Sure.
Now, if you were going to make it for yourself, then you would take a rounded teaspoon. Generally, I take heaped teaspoons, but the recommended dose is a rounded teaspoon in a cup. And then you pour roughly half of it with boiling water, so you can stir it and dissolve it, and it'll fizz. And that fizzing action is actually vital, because calcium particles are not small. They kind of, let's say, large, although it's a powder. but they're large. So what happens is with the vitamin C and the magnesium and the calcium, when you pour the boiling water in it, it is dissolving, and it breaks down the particles. Then you can add cold water or a good herbal tea or unsweetened fruit juice, whatever suits you. I drink it just with water, but everybody's different. And then I do that personally twice a day, 2 heaped teaspoons. I've been doing it for so long. So I don't have sleep issues. There's all kinds of stuff it handles. So for example, if somebody's constipated, that will help. There's just every body part needs these things. So if you've got high blood pressure, I would do the CalMag, and as well as maybe do the salt thing. And there's just, for example, I don't have the picture up anymore because I'm kind of sorting things out, but there was a AAA Hall of Famer football player over in California who had a bad injury and concussion, a third-degree concussion, which is apparently very serious, and he couldn't play, and he was very upset, and he was very moody because of all this and stuff. And his coach gave him a bottle of CalMag, and he started to take it, and it helped to calm him down. And then he also found out, he didn't realize that he did his own little kind of testing on it. Then he'd been having sleep issues. Suddenly the sleep issues were not there anymore. He had restless legs in the middle of the night. Suddenly he realized the restless legs were gone, weren't restless anymore. So it had an overall effect because it's the nervous system. When the body's going like this, there's something, it's like flickering lights, there's something not quite working. I've even got people where the seizures or fits, even the dogs, they have had seizures, they give them CalMag, dogs are happy, no more seizures. So these minerals are, the basic minerals are even more important than you take in vitamins, because the minerals is what makes the electrical current work. Once you've got that running, then you put the other things on top of that, and then they can, then it sends this here and it sends that there, and it's because it's working. And it's doing its job, sending signals and receiving signals. And so, for example, if you put your finger on the hot stove, the signal will go from there to the brain, and then it'll come back and say, take your finger off. But it's like obviously much faster than that, yeah. So the whole body works like that. Hormonal stuff. I mean, body produces more than 600 hormones. And they've all got different functions. And if your whole electricity in your body is working good, the messages come and go, they come and go, they come and go. If there's not enough of something, all kinds of stuff can happen.
Yeah, definitely energy needs to travel around our system to be able to have health.
Yeah.
Definitely. So let's go a little bit more in details about this product. We have a lot of problems in the world, for example, even right now. And the only solution that the medical industry, really pharmaceutical industry has, vaccines and medication. You are saying basically, from what I think I understood, that as long as we are doing the best for our body, our immune system is going to get stronger, and we are going to be able to deal with whatever is out there, regardless of whatever we are there, yes. Right? Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Okay. So if your body's in good condition, it will just throw away that nonsense, yeah. Yeah.
Great. So basically, by having a good regime with the products and the food, I guess you are also interested in that, we are going to be able, the maladies that we are going to be facing, or we are facing right now. Yeah. Is that so?
My main purpose with my product is to calm the world down. Mm-hmm. So this is a calming product. So my message is, let's calm the world down with CalMag-C. And then can add in all the other things, because the stress that's being created naturally and deliberately is, and the whole thing is too, I mean, big pharma's going to say, oh, you've got to have this vaccine, you've got to have that, whatever. They're not looking at the fundamentals of the body. It's kind of like, I always tell people, if you've got walls in your house that are cracking and you keep plugging them up, they're just going to keep cracking. Mm. But if you rebuild the foundation, the cracking will stop. And that's what you do with good nutrition, CalMag and other good nutritional stuff and good food. You actually rebuild the foundation, because the human body, in a 7-year period, it's completely brand new. The cells are, but some of them are like a couple of hours, a couple of days, weeks, but in a 7-year period, the entire human body is totally new. And if you keep putting in the bad stuff, your body's going to go down, down, down. If you start putting in the good stuff, you're going to build your body up so that it's happy and healthy.
It's interesting also the fact that I'm sure you're aware of the fact that quantum physics and quantum medicine is doing great steps forward lately. Have been doing it since the 1924, I'm sorry. And I'm saying if, I'm not doubting what you're saying, but unfortunately this is the first time that I get involved in a discussion about this product. If it really calms people down, according to quantum medicine and quantum physics, which tells us that a lot of our diseases, they are caused by stress. Right. Yeah, and when we have that kind of stress, we are actually forming in our system carcinogenic cell. Mm-hmm. So if this can avoid that formation, we can really stop the problem from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Is that so?
Yes, totally, because that's like I say, if you're putting in the right things, you calmer, the body's calmer, and all of that, then you start to build your body with good stuff, you're going to be stronger and stronger, and that's going to affect you mentally as well. Because when your body's down and you're feeling like, like when women have their periods every month, these things are all to do with nutrition. And I'll tell you something interesting about that now in a minute. But yeah, if you put the good stuff in, you build up happy people. If you keep putting in the bad stuff, you're going to have, want to fight and want to beat the husband or the wife or whatever. So basically, the calcium in the human body, 10 days before a girl gets her period, the calcium levels start to drop. And then right at the point where the period's coming, the calcium crashes out. So now now they're going crazy and pain and whatever.
Why didn't you get in touch with me before?
Because I just heard about you today. But yeah, so basically, and when women go through menopause, all these things too, but men also go through menopause. It's funny that they call it menopause for us women, but the word, and for men it's andropause. Yeah, it's like they go through similar things, mood swings and whatever, and all it is nutritional deficiencies. And your basic on any of this is minerals. And calcium, magnesium are your biggest amount of minerals, so they're vital. And here's another interesting point. Calcium gluconate, which is the type of calcium in here, and that's the only type I recommend. Calcium gluconate is the most potent painkiller there is. It's even more potent than morphine. And I'm going to tell you something interesting now. When I had my son 30-something years ago, I went into labor. It wasn't this particular, it was the CalMag that I was describing, mixing the 2 powders with the apple cider vinegar. When I went into the hospital to go and have the baby, my husband made one of those big flasks of CalMag and went to the hospital, and I drank 1.5 liters of it. And you know how much pain I had in delivering the baby? Zero. Mm. Zero. There was no pain at all. Then I learned the potency of calcium gluconate, because it is. And of course you won't see that promoted anywhere by Big Pharma, because you can't patent it. But if you look online and on my website, you'll see there's actually a calcium gluconate injectable that you can get. And they call it for low calcium and all that, but that's not even coming anywhere near the facts, because it's very potent as a painkiller.
The conversation, Desiree, that we had before that we started to record, you told me that there is also apple cider vinegar in it. Is that still something that you put in it,
No.
or you don't?
No, not anymore. That was the original. That's the original formula: calcium, magnesium, and apple cider vinegar to adjust the pH, because the pH has to be in that neutral range. Calcium and magnesium are alkaline powders, and because they're alkaline, what can happen is then they don't absorb into the body, and then they can deposit in the joints, behind the eyes. They call them different things: conjunctivitis, or deposits in the kidneys, or here you can get arthritis or kidney stones and all that. So what you have to do is you have to put in an acid, either apple cider vinegar or vitamin C, so you lower the pH into the middle range. So now it's in that middle range. Now you mix it with that boiling water, then it absorbs immediately into the body.
So instead of the apple cider vinegar, from what I think you said, there is vitamin C now.
Exactly, yeah. The vitamin C is in place of the apple cider vinegar. For a lot of people, it's much easier. You can buy it off the shelf and do it like this. The other way, you have to mix it. It's a very good way to do it too, but you'd have to mix it, and it's just simpler for people, especially in the modern day. You want them to take it. You don't want it to be too much effort, because if it's a lot of effort, then some people just don't do it. So, yeah.
Can you overdo it on the doses? Is it something that if you take too much is going to give you some side effects, or is being a natural product, you're just going to eliminate it when you urinate and no side effects at all?
Yeah, generally speaking, yes. Some people, the magnesium is a stool softener. So magnesium, some people can have that effect quite quickly. That it softens the stools. Not everybody. For example, I drank 1.5 liters. Like I said, there were no stools, but everybody's different. So with some people, maybe the stools get too soft, but it's not harmful. Then they would just stop and just, okay, I've had enough for today, and then maybe try it again, do it again tomorrow. But because it's minerals and it's liquid, it's going to be coming out the body the whole day. So you just keep, so every day you just take it. I take it morning and night.
So basically you adjust it in accordance with your needs. If you see that you are taking too much, you just cut down on the amount, and the problem really, which is not really a problem, because you're just going to eliminate a little bit more from your system. So really, actually, you're cleaning yourself out, and it's something that is going to be efficient. It's going to give you a more efficient body to deal with whatever is out there.
That's exactly true. And with tiny babies, like I say, I started my babies on the day they're born. I would make it in like let's say 1/4 of a teaspoon. I'd make about a little baby water bottle this size, and then I would split that into 2 doses, and so they can have the other half later. And now when I'm feeding them, let's say breastfeeding, then I will get them used to the taste. So what happened with my kids, and I've helped a lot of people with that. I've watched people. Some of these babies is like insane. They get very upset. They can't stop crying, and all for different reasons. My kids never. They slept like babies, which is a bit of a joke, because a lot of people say, but babies don't sleep. But mine did. Teething, I didn't even know they were teething. The first I knew was if I stuck my finger in the mouth and I got a bite on the... And things like that I never had. They never got sick, no flu, nothing. They were never ill for anything. And so it was normal for me in my household. So of course, when something's normal for you and you see others having all these difficulties and the ones that allow you to educate them and help them, then you see an improvement there. But of course, a lot of people, they don't. Like I've got some success stories too about babies with colic, because this is quite a common thing where the stomach goes into a spasm, and all it is they just need these 2 minerals, because it kind of does so that contract, relax, and that's how the nervous system works, and that's how this works, and the heart and everything.
Is a place where we can get some information? Do you have a site that you can share with us so that whoever is watching it will be able to contact you if they need to and if they want to, and get some more information?
Sure, I don't have it on there. Yes, the website is www.calmag-c.com. It's important. This is the website is just this with a .com. So you can reach and you can email me anytime. There's no obligations. I like to help people. So I have people asking me for advice, and if they're in the area, then they come and get checked out. I met a lady on the plane when I came back from South Africa now, and we were sitting next to each other, and I do this and that. And she came to see me. Tested her. There were a few issues, and CalMag was one of the solutions, and she texted me a couple of days ago and said, I love that CalMag, and I've just ordered another 6. So, it's when, and I showed her, I did the muscle testing, and so she could see for herself. That's why I like the muscle testing, by the way, because people can see. And I'm actually going to be taking it back to South Africa to train the promoters that go into the pharmacies there for my product, train them how to do it so people can see dehydration and calcium and magnesium.
This is great. So if somebody will get in touch with us without going directly to your site, if you don't mind, we'll contact you and you will give us the information. Is there anything else that you would like to share as the closing in this interview, which we really appreciate and we thank you for, as being really, really informing, and I'm sure that a lot of people, they're going to be able to get benefit. Of course, if they do it, like anything else, if we just listen and we don't act upon it, nothing is going to change. So, Desiree, again, it's been a pleasure to spend this few minutes together, and for the information that you gave us all. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that, as we close, that you would like to share with whoever is going to listen and watch this program, so that they might act upon it, the things that you have suggested, and they might be able to see the benefit of this product that you have developed so many years ago?
Yes, sure. And would be anybody who's got any questions, please feel free to write me and ask me. I love helping people, and this is really a good team here. And I'm available for anybody. Just email me and ask me. You can even phone me. I'm happy to help.
It's been a pleasure, as I said before, to talk with Desiree and to get to know her and to get to know a little bit of her product. And definitely we are going, my wife and myself, to look into it. And the next time, maybe I will be able to share also my experience with the audience. And so have a good night, and thank you very much from the Italian radio in Florida.